Never mind.
So the assignment was to read chapter 24. Please write one paragraph and tell me what happened in chapter 24. Close your books. Anya and Alice, who are listening to this recording, when I give assignments like this, I'm not going to chase you around for the assignment, so I just need you to send it to me. Send me a picture. Otherwise, the grade goes in as a 0. I'm not going to remind you. Just if there's an assignment, send it to me. If you're not in this room, I need the assignment sent to me. Okay, finish up.
We love that. Yes. Yeah.
This camera over here is not visible over me. So like I have to run. Perfect. Thank you very much. Does anyone else feel like after 200 pages, this story just took a turn?
I think it's been better.
We're not gonna reread it, I'm just gonna read you one part at the beginning of this chapter. My only wish, reply, I'm at the top of 192, my only wish, replied Don Quixote, is to serve you. So much so that I was determined not to leave these mountains till I had discovered you, and learned from you if there is any sort of remedy to be found for the affliction which your strange way of life showed you to suffer under. And if so, to make every possible effort to find it. But should your misfortune be such as to close all doors to every kind of consolation, it was my intention to join you as best I could in your grief and lamentations. For it is still some consolation in sorrow to find someone to grieve for them. Does Don Quixote know this guy?
No, you know.
Is he related to him?
No.
Does he know anyone who knows him?
Mm.
Does he have any practical or obvious reason to feel this way? My only desire is to serve you. If I can, I want to understand what's happened to you and fix it. And even if I can't fix it, I want to sit with you in your lamentation. Because everybody knows that if you're sorrowing, it's relieving for someone else to sorrow with you.
Sounds like a toddler.
Sounds like
When their parent is sad, they just try to help, and if they can't, they just try to comfort them.
Oh, an innocent, compassionate someone, right? It's the definition of justice is giving each his due. And as Colleen mentioned yesterday, first and foremost, that's the virtue of religion where we give God his due. But it's giving everyone his due. And for Don Quixote, he's saying, I want to do that for you because nobody else is. What is his motivation? Why would he do that? What's he getting out of it?
Justice.
Thank you, Thomas. It's justice. He wants justice. And all the times up till now, his idea of how to gain justice has been fruitless. He's swinging at windmills. He's charging it with his lance at guys who are going to a funeral. He's attacking sheep, all in the name of justice, but he's not even close. Like, what are you doing? But suddenly we have Don Quixote appear to this Tarzan guy who's been driven mad by some sort of injustice, and he embraces the guy like it's his brother. And the guy who was half mad with injustice, I'm sure you all have felt injustice to the point of feeling like you're going to lose your mind. It's not right, and I can't do anything about it, and it's making me crazy. And Don Quixote grabs the guy by the shoulders, gives him a hug, and then they're just looking at each other. And Cardenio's like, we find out his name is Cardenio. Who are you? And why do you care? Why do you care? You've got nothing to do with this. Why do you care? But he's so compelled by the fact that someone cares that he starts like just pouring out his story. Okay, so then we find out about Duke Richard, we find out about Ferdinand, we find out. The farm girl and all of it. One other thing of note, and guys, you don't, well, I guess you can listen to this, but girls, what year was this written?
1547.
1547. Okay, we're going back 500 years. Spain, like, got nothing to do with you, right? Middle of 196. Now, as a lad's love is for the most part not love, but lust. And, aiming only at gratification, dies when it attains its purpose. What appears to be love then weakening, since it cannot persist beyond its natural limits, which limits do not exist in true love. I mean to say that as soon as Don Ferdinand had enjoyed the farmer's daughter, his desires grew calm and his ardor cool, so that if at first he had pretended that he wanted to go away in order to relieve his passion, now he was really anxious to go to avoid fulfilling his promise. Girls, do you understand? Just making sure. Do you understand? Yes. It won't be different for you. It won't. They do not buy the cow when the milk is free. Chapter 25. Of the strange things which happened to the valorous knight of La Mancha in the Sierra Morena, and his imitation of the penance of Beltenebros. Coco, are you up for it?
Not really.
Yeah. Don Quixote took leave of the goat herd. Okay, so in the end, because Don Quixote interrupted when he was asked not to, because he heard that some girl knew of his favorite tale of knighthood, he interrupts Cardenio, and Cardenio goes into one of his madnesses and chucks rocks at Don Quixote and starts beating up Sancho. And then he runs off. Okay, and now is that going to make Don Quixote give up? No. Now we got to go find Cardenio. Don Quixote took leave of the goat herd and, remounting Rocinante, bade Sancho to follow him, which he did on his ass, most unwillingly. What's the problem with Sancho getting on his ass?
Got stolen.
Bella, how come I can't hear you? I know you're trying to tell me.
No, you.
You're not muted, but I can't hear you. Do you need to turn up some volume on your side? You were the first one to try to answer, but I know that you're talking, but I can't hear you. But whoever else just talked, I could hear them. Is there a mute on your phone that's different from the mute on Zoom? Try to talk again, because you're not muted on Zoom.
You can see that she's frozen.
Same thing happened in the Michigan restaurant.
You were trying to talk and we couldn't.
Calls and it said it was.
Bella, try again, honey. I don't know, and then you just froze up.
Maybe it's not her time.
Oh, I can't hear her. Coco, talk.
Yeah?
Mary, talk, please.
Yes.
Nina, talk, please.
Yes.
Kateri, talk, please.
Yes.
Bella, I don't know what's going on. We can't hear you. Well, anyway, Bella knew. The who was it who stole Sancho's horse a couple of chapters ago?
The galley.
Well, the galley criminals. They stole his ass, but now he's back on it. Okay. They then went slowly on into the most desolate part of the mountains. Sancho all the while was dying to talk to his master, but not wishing to disobey his orders, waited for him to start the conversation. At last, however, unable to bear the silence, he said, Don Quixote, please give me your blessing and my liberty, for I want to go back home now to my wife and children. I shall at least be able to talk to them as much as I like. For your worship's wanting me to ride through these lonely parts day and night and never speak to you when I've a mind to is like burying me alive. If nature allowed animals to talk as they did in Aesop's days, it wouldn't be so bad. Then I could talk to my ass about anything I like and forget my bad luck that way. For it is hard and more than patience can bear to spend all one's life looking for adventures and finding nothing but kicks and blanket tossings, brick battings and beatings, and still have to keep one's mouth shut tight and not dare to say what's in one's heart, just as if one were dumb. Does the man have a point? The man has a point. I understand you, Sancho, replied Don Quixote. You are dying for me to raise the prohibition I have imposed on your tongue. Consider it raised, and say what you will, on condition this license lasts only so long as we are traveling in these mountains. Very well said, Sancho. Let me talk now, for God knows what will come afterwards. And now, to begin to take advantage of your permission, I would like to ask what made your worship stand up so warmly for the Queen Magamasa, or whatever she's called. What did it matter if the abbot was her friend or not? For your worship had let it pass. Since you were not her judge, I really think that the madman would have gone on with the story, and we should have been spared the stones and kicks and more than half a dozen backhands in the face. I swear, Sancho, replied Don Quixote, that if you knew as I know what a great and honorable lady Queen Madasima was, you would have certainly say that I showed great patience in not smashing the face that mouths such blasphemies. For it is a great blasphemy to say or to think that a queen could take a barber surgeon for a lover. The truth of the story is that the master Elizabeth, the madman spoke of, was a very wise man and a very good counselor, and served the queen as tutor and physician. But to think that she was his lover is a folly deserving the severest punishment. Yet you must see that Cardenio did not know what he was saying, for you must remember that he was already out of his mind when he had said it. Now he's sticking up for the truth and the justice of someone in a faraway story about a queen that may or may not have ever existed. But justice is justice and truth is truth. Is he mad?
Already.
Leo says not really. Is he mad? You know?
I don't know. I can't tell anymore.
Mary, is he mad?
He just seems so caught up in his idea that he wants to do that he's not thinking of how he should be implementing his idea. And so you could kind of say he's mad in a way, but he has a good idea and he's not thinking of how to properly go about doing it.
I love that answer. That's what I say, answered Sancho, and you oughtn't have had taken any notice of what a madman said. What's more, if good luck had not come to your worship's aid and the stone had struck your head instead of your chest, we would have been in a fine way for standing up for the great lady, God. And just think, Cardenio would have gotten off scot-free as a madman. Against all men, sane or mad, said Don Quixote, it is every knight-errant's duty to defend the honor of all women of whatever rank. particularly of queens as exalted and virtuous as this queen was. I have a particular regard for her on account of her good qualities. For not only was she very beautiful, but prudent too, and very patient in her countless misfortunes. And the advice and company of Master Elzabat were great advantage and comfort to her, and enabled her to bear her trials with prudence and patience. That is what made the ignorant and malicious rabble say and think that she was his mistress. And they lie, I say again, and 200 times more, I repeat, that every one of them who thinks so or says so lies. Just because a man and a woman are seen talking together does not mean that they are lovers. And nonetheless, as we discussed last year, there are different levels of friendship, levels of love, and friendship is above romantic love, above. Because you're not as, you don't get as much emotion out of it. You're more than usual looking for the good of the other person. That is why they are your friend. So it sounds like this barber, whoever he is in whatever story with this queen, they are much maligned, and Don Quixote's having none of it. And if you have to throw stones at him for sticking up for her, then throw stones by all means, but he's not going to stop. Is he mad, Thomas?
No,
Question mark?
yeah.
I don't say so, nor think so, replied Sancho. There let it rest. Let them eat the lie and swallow it with their bread. Whether the two were lovers or no, they'll have accounted to God for it by now. I have my own fish to fry. I know nothing. I am not one to pry into other people's lives. It's not good lying about the price. Your purse always knows better. What's more, I was born naked, and naked I am now. I neither lose nor win. Suppose they were lovers, what's that to me? Plenty of people expect to find bacon where there's not so much as a hook to hang it on. Who can hedge in the cuckoo, especially as God himself is not spared? Okay, well, I'm sorry, but we have to go over this. What is Sancho saying? What is he saying?
Justice isn't yours.
Is he?
Worry about everyone else.
Bridget says, worry about yourself and stop worrying about everyone else. Coco?
Yeah, I was gonna say he's kind of indifferent about the situation. It doesn't affect him, so why should he really care?
Well said. Your worship, we have bigger fish to fry. We're in these insane mountains, wandering around on cliffs, looking for a madman who just tried to stone you to death. And you're worried about some far off story about some queen and barber. And by now they've both died, and God has judged everyone. And you know what? Liars will get what's coming to them anyway. So why do you care so much? It has nothing to do with you. Do we see his point?
Yeah.
He's very pragmatic. He's very practical. It's very understandable to say I've got all I can handle right now with my ass that was stolen and somehow is still giving me transport and my next meal. I've got all I can handle. Whose side are you on? Don Quixote's or Sancho's?
Sancho.
Sancho.
It's very rational.
Sancho, he's very rational. Mary, what do you say?
I think I would say most of the time Don Quixote.
Thomas?
Sancho right now. It
Bella?
depends. They switch.
Yeah,
Probably Sancho.
I can hear you. So Mary alone says Don Quixote?
I think. Just because no matter what, as he keeps wanting to do the right thing, even if he's putting effort, like the world before himself, I think he's. Even though it's irrational, most of the time.
Bridget's with you, Mary. I have a question. I'm sorry, but you guys, I absolutely understand why you say Sancho. The whole world says Sancho. Sancho is like my cat Willow. Willow doesn't care about anything except what serves Willow. But he's not rational. He's just instinctually doing what he's got to do to survive and feel good and eat and sleep and, right?
Yeah.
Is that how we should live? Just do what you gotta do for you. You've got your own fish to fry. Who cares about the justice of somebody in Armenia? Who cares? Right?
The non-believers, sure, but
Good Lord, cried Don Quixote. What a string of nonsense, Sancho. What have all the proverbs to do with the matter we were discussing? For heaven's sake, be quiet, and in future see you spur your ass and do not interfere with what does not concern you. And get it into your five senses that all my actions, past, present, and future, are very well based in reason and conform in every way to the rules of chivalry. For I know these rules better than any knights who have ever professed them in the world.
we got another improvement for characters. For character improvement for Don Quixote. Right?
According to the rules of chivalry, I should care about every injustice done to anyone, anytime, anywhere. That's the rules. And to the best of my ability, I'm going to seek justice for those who are suffering injustice, even if it's in a book, however long ago, and they've gone to their maker, Sancho. So if you stay in your lane, which is find us some bread. Does Sancho have a point? Can Don Quixote, can he solve every injustice in the world? Can he?
No.
There's no way he can do it. Does his wanting to do it make him chase after windmills and attack sheep
Yeah.
and monks in a funeral procession? You can't do that either. So where are we? Where are we? We got Sancho on the one side. Good Lord, Sancho, what nonsense you speak. Because he's saying, all you can do is take care of yourself. I got bigger fish to fry. Never mind anybody else. That's nonsense. On the other side, you've got Don Quixote who's trying to fix everything everywhere for everyone. And that's driven him mad. Or sometimes mad, or sort of mad, or we think maybe mad. Or it looks like madness, right?
I'm confused.
I'm kind of confused. Sir, replied Sancho, it is a good rule of chivalry for us to get lost. Is it a good rule of chivalry for us to get lost looking for a madman in these mountains where there isn't a rock or a road or a trail? And when we find him, perhaps he'll choose to finish the job he had begun. Not his story, but breaking your head and my ribs till there isn't a whole bone left in our bodies. Sir, it's not practical. You can't go riding around the mountains where there's not even a trail looking for a madman who just tried to stone you. Does the man have a point?
Yeah.
To which Don Quixote replies, once more, Sancho, be quiet, exclaimed Don Quixote, for I would have you know that it is not only my wish to find the madman that draws me to these parts, but my intention of performing a deed here which will gain me perpetual renown and glory throughout all the known world. It will be such a deed that if by it I shall attain the utmost perfection and renown of which a knight errant is capable. Uh-oh. And is this deed very perilous? Asked Sancho Panza. No, replied the knight of the sad countenance, although the dice may so fall that we throw a blank instead of a double. But everything depends on your diligence. So, sir, no matter what, you insist on going forward. But isn't it dangerous? No, not really. It just depends on your diligence. Mine? Yes, said Don Quixote, because if you come back quickly from the place I mean to send you to, my penance will soon be over and my glory will speedily begin. But it is not right to keep you longer in suspense, hanging on the purport of my words. So I would have you know, Sancho, that the famous Amadis of Gaul was one of the most perfect of the knights errant. I was wrong to say one. He was the sole, the first, the unique, the prince of all there were in the world this day. A fate for Valenius, and for all who claimed to be in any respect his equal, for I swear they are mistaken. What is more, I say, that when any painter wishes to win fame in his art, he endeavors to copy the pictures of the most excellent painters he knows. And the same rule obtains for all professions and pursuits of importance that serve to adorn the Commonwealth. So, what any man who wants a reputation for prudence and patience must do, and does, is to imitate Ulysses, in whose person and labors Homer paints for us a lively picture of prudence and patience. Just as Virgil shows us in the person of Aeneas the virtue of a dutiful son and the sagacity of a brave and skillful captain. They do not paint them or describe them as they were, but as they should have been, to serve as examples of their virtues for future generations. In the same way, Amadis was the pole star, the morning star, the son of all valiant knights and lovers, of all of us who ride beneath the banner of love and chivalry should imitate him. This being the case, Sancho, my friend, I conclude that the knight errant who best copies him will attain most nearly to the perfection of chivalry. Give me an analogy. Oh, Christian.
We as Christians or Catholics, we strive to imitate Christ, what he did.
And the lives of the saints, right? We read the lives of the saints. And though you gentlemen may never turn out to be a Saint Bruno, you're sure darn well going to try. He's just saying the same thing. Are we constantly trying to attain something that's impossible, people?
Yeah.
Yeah, we are. Is it insane to think that you can merit heaven? That's insanity. You can't. The difference between finite and infinite is infinite. You can't get there. Why are you going up a mountain you can't reach the top of? Why would you do that? That's madness, isn't it?
Yeah.
Then what are we doing? What are we doing? We're fighting for what we know is true and right. Marianne says, what are we doing? We're being fools for Christ, and it's just madness. Because you can't do it. Except we can. Is he mad?
No.
See you at
Completion.
11:10. Thursday, 11:10. See you at 11:10.
Thank you.
You're welcome.